Admiral James Cooper stood at the viewport of Lunar Command, his weathered face reflecting off the reinforced glass as Earth hung suspended in the void before him. After 30 years in the United Earth Defense Force, he thought he'd seen everything. He was wrong. The quantum transmission playing on his neural interface made his hands shake with rage. On the screen floating in his vision, the dying Xarthi diplomat's bioluminescent patterns flickered weakly as it made its confession. Your species was never meant to advance this far. The alien's translated words scrolled across Cooper's view. Every breakthrough, every leap forward, we were there, watching, waiting, sabotaging. The Joe Goldman cure for advanced cancer, a tragic laboratory accident, the Martinez quantum core, a catastrophic containment failure. None of them were accidents. Cooper's jaw clenched. His sister had died waiting for the Joe Goldman cure, her last days spent hoping for a breakthrough that had been deliberately destroyed. The Martinez incident had killed 300 people, including some of the brightest minds humanity had produced. We feared you, that Carthy continued, its patterns growing weaker. Your species adapts too quickly, innovates too readily. The Council saw your potential and trembled. We could not allow. The transmission stuttered as the alien's life signs faltered. Could not allow another precursor race to rise. The transmission ended, leaving Cooper alone with his fury and the weight of this revelation. He checked the timestamp. The transmission had been received 6 hours ago. By now, the encryption keys had been broken, and the message was spreading across every network on Earth and the colonies. In New Delhi, crowds were already gathering outside the Galactic Council's embassy. Cooper's neural interface showed him live feeds from cities across the planet. Rio de Janeiro, Lagos, Singapore, everywhere, humans were taking to the streets as the truth spread like wildfire. His comm unit chimed. Admiral, his AI assistant's voice was unusually tense. The Council's representatives are demanding emergency transport off-planet. The Singapore embassy is under siege, and protests have begun at their lunar diplomatic compound. Let them wait, Cooper growled, but decades of discipline tempered his anger. No, delay that. Assign them protective custody. If what this Tarthi said is true, they're now the most valuable intelligence assets on Earth. Another alert flashed across his vision. The United Earth government was calling an emergency session. As head of Earth's defense forces, his presence would be required. But something about this timing nagged at him. Run a deep scan on all Council communication channels. He ordered the AI. Focus on encrypted quantum bands. Sir, I'm detecting an unusual pattern. Council ships are moving to blockade positions around several key human colonies. Their movements began before the transmission was decoded. Cooper's blood ran cold. They knew the transmission would leak. They're preparing for our response. He straightened his uniform. Get me a secure line to President Rodriguez. And forward all Council ship movements to our tactical division. If they think humanity will just roll over after learning about this betrayal, they're about to learn otherwise. As he turned from the viewport, his neural interface displayed another urgent alert. This one made him stop in his tracks. It was a message, coded in quantum encryption, that shouldn't exist according to Council records, bearing a signature from within the Council itself. Humanity is not alone in its chains. When you decide to break free, others will stand with you. Look to the shadows between stars. Cooper allowed himself a grim smile. The game was about to change, and for the first time in centuries, humanity would be playing with a full deck. Send word to all fleet commanders, he ordered. Special Operations Protocol 7 is now in effect. And get me everything we have on Council ships' quantum detection systems. It's time we stopped playing by their rules. The die was cast. Humanity's long-suppressed rise was about to begin, and the cosmos would never be the same. Dr. Amanda Mitchell hadn't seen sunlight in 3 weeks. Deep beneath the Appalachian Mountains, in a facility that officially didn't exist, she stared at the quantum visualization matrix floating before her. Tiny motes of probability danced in the holographic display, each one representing a potential breakthrough, or another dead end. "Run it again," she ordered, her voice hoarse from too much coffee and too little sleep. "Modify the quantum signature to match the Centaurian frequency, but this time." She manipulated the controls with practiced ease, her neural implants translating thought into action. "This time, let's add a phase variance." Her team watched in silence. They'd been through this thousands of times before, each attempt ending in failure, but something was different today. The quantum patterns were holding stable longer than ever before. "Holy shit," whispered Dr. Marcus Reed, her deputy. "The degradation rate, it's actually decreasing." Amanda leaned forward, her heart pounding. The holographic display showed what should have been impossible: a human quantum signature morphing, changing, becoming something else entirely. Not just masked, but transformed. "We did it," she breathed. Then louder, "We actually did it." The celebration lasted exactly 30 seconds before Admiral Cooper's avatar materialized in the lab. "Dr. Mitchell, is this data confirmed?" "Yes, sir." She could barely contain her excitement. "We can mask human quantum signatures completely. Better yet, we can mimic other species' signatures. The Council's detection systems won't just fail to find us. They'll see whatever we want them to see." Cooper's avatar nodded grimly. "Then Operation Shadow Echo is go. You have 12 hours to pack up. This facility is being relocated." Relocated? Where? Everywhere. Over the next month, Amanda watched her breakthrough transform into humanity's greatest covered operation. Her lab's technology was distributed to hidden facilities across Earth and the colonies. Beneath the Pacific Ocean, abandoned mining outposts became shipyards. Asteroid bases, officially listed as automated resource processors, hummed with activity. The Council's observers saw nothing unusual. Their quantum detection systems reported only normal civilian traffic, while beneath the facade, humanity's ghost fleet took shape. Amanda split her time between facilities, supervising the integration of her quantum masking technology with recovered failed experiments. Technologies the Council had supposedly destroyed were rebuilt, enhanced, and combined in ways their suppressors had never imagined. "It's beautiful," she said one day, standing in a massive underwater hangar as the first true stealth ship took shape. The vessel's quantum signature rippled and shifted, making it appear as nothing more than a routine cargo hauler. "Beautiful and deadly," said Captain Sarah Hayes, the ship's designated commander. "The Council thinks they know everything about human military capability. They're about to learn how wrong they are." Amanda's neural implant chimed with an urgent message. Another Council accident had been reported, this time at a research facility on Mars. But now they knew the truth. It was no accident. "How many?" she asked quietly. 17 researchers, Hayes replied. They were close to a breakthrough in metacognitive computing. Amanda's hands clenched. "Add them to the list." The list was projected onto her neural display. Names of scientists, researchers, and innovators who had died in Council-engineered accidents. It had become the Ghost Fleet's unofficial memorial wall, a constant reminder of why they fought. A klaxon sounded. Shift change for the construction crews. As new workers filed in, Amanda marveled at humanity's ability to adapt. 6 months ago, these people had been construction workers, miners, and engineers. Now they were shipbuilders, working in perfect secrecy to forge humanity's liberation. Her neural implant flagged an incoming priority message from Admiral Cooper. "Council fleet movements increasing near Proxima Centauri. Timeline accelerated. Shadow Echo enters Phase 2 in 48 hours." Amanda looked up at the stealth ship, its quantum signature dancing with artificial patterns. Soon the Council would learn the cost of their centuries of suppression. But first, humanity needed allies. "Captain Hayes," she called out, "how quickly can your ship be ready for a covert mission?" Hayes smiled grimly. "For the chance to strike back at the Council. We'll be ready in 24 hours. The silent revolution was about to break its silence, and the galaxy would never see it coming. The lithoid colony ship hung in the void like a dead thing, its crystalline hull absorbing the faint light of distant stars. Captain Hayes stood on the bridge of the UES Shadow Dancer, watching as her ship's quantum signature perfectly mimicked a Council patrol vessel. "Life signs?" she asked. "Strong but dormant," her sensor officer reported. The lithoids entered hibernation when their ship was sentenced to drift. 312 souls, Captain. Hayes remembered the briefing. The Council had condemned these beings to a slow death in space for the crime of developing crystal-based quantum computing, technology that could bypass Council control networks. "Match course and speed," she ordered. "Dr. Mitchell, are you ready?" Amanda's voice came through the comm, tense but confident. "Ready. If their systems are as advanced as we think, they should recognize the wake-up sequence." The Shadow Dancer drew alongside the colony ship, its masking field maintaining their Council disguise. Amanda's signal pulsed out, a complex sequence of quantum harmonics designed to activate the lithoid's emergency protocols. For long moments, nothing happened. Then the colony ship's hull began to glow with internal light, patterns of energy racing through its crystalline structure. A voice like chiming glass filled the bridge. "Council vessel, we acknowledge your signal. We accept our sentence and await termination." Hayes leaned forward. "This is Captain Sarah Hayes of the United Earth vessel Shadow Dancer. We're not here to terminate you. We're here to offer an alliance." Silence stretched between the ships. Then, "Your quantum signature is Council-aligned, yet you claim to be human. Explain." Amanda cut in. "We've learned to mask our signatures, just as you learned to bypass Council networks. We've come to free you, if you'll trust us." More silence. The colony ship's glow intensified, and Hayes tensed. If they'd miscalculated, if the lithoids decided to self-destruct rather than risk Council treachery. "Trust," the crystalline voice mused. "A rare commodity in this galaxy. Perhaps we can trade some. Your masking technology for our quantum crystalline matrices." Hayes smiled. "That's exactly what we had in mind." The rescue of the lithoids became the first victory of humanity's shadow war. Within weeks, the colony ship was hidden in the Kuiper Belt, its passengers awakened and eager to share their suppressed innovations. But they weren't the only ones. "The signal's genuine," Amanda insisted, showing Hayes and Admiral Cooper the quantum transmission they'd received. "The Myriad want to meet." The Myriad, a hive-mind species forcibly separated by Council decree, their collective consciousness fractured into isolated individuals. The Council claimed it was for the galaxy's safety. Now they knew better. The meeting was set for the dark side of a rogue planet, far from Council shipping lanes. The Shadow Dancer arrived first, then the lithoid ship. When the Myriad vessel emerged from quantum space, Hayes felt her breath catch. It was beautiful. A living ship, its biological hull pulsing with neural patterns. As the representatives gathered in the Shadow Dancer's conference room, Hayes watched history unfold. The lithoid delegate's crystalline form caught the light like a living prism. The Myriad representative was a cluster of interconnected beings, finally able to partially reconnect away from Council sensors. And there stood Amanda, offering humanity's greatest secret, the key to freedom through quantum deception. Together, the Myriad spoke in overlapping voices. "We are stronger than alone. Our neural linking technology, combined with your quantum masking, and our crystal computing matrices," the lithoid chimed in, its facets flashing with excitement, "could change everything." Amanda finished. "We can help each other hide, fight, and eventually win," Hayes said firmly. "We can win." The alliance of progressive species was born in that moment, sealed not with documents but with an exchange of secrets. The lithoids shared their crystal computing cores, the Myriad their bioneural interfaces, and humanity its quantum masking technology. As Hayes watched the allies depart to spread the word to their hidden communities, she received a priority alert from Earth. The Council was growing suspicious of reduced activity in certain sectors. "Let them wonder," she murmured. "The game is about to change." She didn't know it then, but the next transmission from Earth would turn their careful plans into a desperate race against time. The Council wasn't just growing suspicious, they were preparing to make an example of someone. And they'd chosen their target with brutal precision. The Orion Spur Data Hub floated in space like a malevolent spider, its quantum arrays spreading out in a complex web of information control. Captain Hayes stood on the Shadow Dancer's bridge, watching tactical displays through her neural interface as 30 Alliance ships dropped out of quantum space around her. "Council defense grid is activating," her tactical officer reported. "They're reading us all as authorized maintenance vessels." Thanks to Amanda's quantum masking technology, every ship in their fleet appeared to be a routine Council support craft. But they wouldn't maintain that disguise for long. "All ships, execute Operation Lighthouse," Hayes ordered. The words felt heavy with history. This was humanity's first real strike against their oppressors. Across the fleet, lithoid crystal matrices hummed to life. The myriads bioneural networks pulsed with coordinated thought. And human tactical systems, born from centuries of warfare and gaming simulations, began their deadly dance. The first sign that something was wrong came when the hub's automated systems detected a power surge from one of the maintenance ships. But by then, it was too late. "Execute Phase 1, Hayes commanded. "Release the Phantoms." Myriad technology, merged with human holographic systems, created the impossible. Each Alliance ship suddenly split into 5 perfect copies, each broadcasting different quantum signatures. The hub's defense grid went wild, trying to track targets that existed only as light and energy. "They're deploying autonomous defense platforms," Amanda reported from her station. 30. No, 50 units launching. Hayes smiled grimly. "Right on schedule. Lithoid teams, you're up." The crystalline ships in their fleet activated their most closely guarded technology. Beams of pure quantum energy lanced out, not to destroy but to corrupt. The defense platform's targeting systems, confronted with contradictory quantum data, began to glitch. "Phase 2, Hayes ordered. "Shadow teams, begin your approach." While the hub's defenses were occupied with phantom ships and malfunctioning platforms, 5 vessels, including the Shadow Dancer, went dark. Their quantum signatures didn't just mask, they vanished completely, using a combination of all 3 species technologies that had never been attempted before. Hayes felt sweat trickle down her neck as they approached the hub. If their calculations were off by even a fraction. "Proximity alert," her tactical officer called out. Council heavy cruiser dropping out of quantum space. A massive Council warship materialized near the hub, its weapons already charging. But Hayes had planned for this. "Execute Gambit Protocol," she ordered. Across the battlefield, the phantom ships shifted tactics. Instead of random evasion patterns, they began moving in complex formations that human gamers had proven were impossible for AI targeting systems to predict effectively. The Council cruiser's automated targeting computers tried to adapt and failed. "We're at the primary access point," Amanda reported. "Initiating breach." The Shadow Dancer extended a crystalline tendril, a gift from their lithoid allies. It connected with the hub's quantum network, and Amanda's hybrid interface went to work. Human intuition, myriad neural processing, and lithoid crystal computing combined to slice through the hub's defenses. "We're in," Amanda announced, her voice tight with concentration. "Downloading archive data now. Time to completion. 3 minutes." Those were the longest 3 minutes of Hayes' life. The phantom battle raged around them, keeping the Council forces occupied. The other Shadow teams reported successful breaches at their assigned points. "Download complete," Amanda finally reported. "But, Captain, you need to see this." Hayes' neural interface lit up with data. The hub contained more than just records of suppressed technologies. It held proof of atrocities, of deliberate manipulation of species against each other, of careful breeding programs, and engineered conflicts. "Send it," Hayes ordered. "Send it all." Across every quantum channel in the galaxy, the truth began to flow. The Council's centuries of manipulation and control laid bare for all to see. Multiple quantum space ruptures. Tactical announced. Large Council fleet incoming. "All ships, execute emergency withdrawal," Hayes commanded. "We have what we came for." As the Alliance fleet vanished into quantum space, Hayes allowed herself a small smile. The hub still stood. Its defenses were intact, but none of that mattered. The real damage had been done with information, not weapons. The revolution was now impossible to stop, but the Council's response would be brutal, and Hayes knew their next battle wouldn't be fought with phantoms and shadows. Proxima Centauri died in a flash of quantum fire. The Council's planet-killer weapon tore through the colony's defenses like they weren't there, reducing humanity's oldest extrasolar settlement to atomic ash. 50,000 souls, gone in an instant. In the neural-linked combat simulator beneath Mount Cheyenne, Admiral Cooper watched the destruction through multiple perspectives simultaneously. His consciousness was merged with 30 other fleet commanders, their combined awareness processing the tactical data in real time. "They're not just killing us," he thought to the neural network. "They're making a statement." The Council's retaliation had been swift and merciless. 3 human colonies destroyed in 2 days. But what the Council didn't know was that each destruction was being analyzed, every tactical decision scrutinized by the most sophisticated combat analysis system ever created. "Pattern recognized," announced Commander Wei through the neural link. Her consciousness highlighted the Council fleet's formation shifts. Their Omega-class destroyers always maintained the same relative positions, even during quantum space transitions. "Doctrine," thought Captain Rodriguez, her neural signature pulsing with excitement. They've been fighting the same way for thousands of years. They never had to adapt. Cooper's merged consciousness expanded as the Lithoid and Myriad commanders joined the simulation. Their alien perspectives added new dimensions to the tactical analysis. "Watch their energy distribution." The Lithoid commander chimed, its crystalline thoughts precise and sharp. "Every ship class has predictable power cycling patterns." The Myriad consciousness added its own insight, 1,000 perspectives merging into one. "Their neural networks are rigid, hierarchical. They cannot adapt in real time like we can." Cooper smiled in both the real and virtual world. "Show me the countermeasure simulations." The virtual space filled with battle scenarios, centuries of human military games, from chess to zero laser tag, had produced strategies that had never been tested in real combat. Combined with lithoid crystal computing and myriad neural networks, they became something entirely new. A priority alert cut through the simulation. Council fleet detected approaching Alpha Centauri, Omega-class destroyers in attack formation. "Time to test our theories," Cooper announced. "All commanders, prepare for real-world engagement. Execute Operation Checkmate." The Alliance fleet waited in the Alpha Centauri system, hidden behind a curtain of quantum static. As the Council ships emerged from quantum space, Cooper felt the neural network hum with anticipated action. "Their formation is exactly as predicted," Wei noted, implementing gaming scenario Delta. The Alliance ships moved like no fleet in history. Formations inspired by medieval cavalry charges merged with patterns taken from competitive gaming tournaments. Ships performed maneuvers that the Council's tactical computers classified as impossible and thus didn't even try to predict. An Omega-class destroyer fired its main quantum cannon and hit empty space as its target executed a maneuver based on a champion gamer's winning strategy from the 2449-0G championships. "Target their power cycling gaps," Cooper ordered, just like in the simulations. Lithoid crystal beams sliced through Council shields at precisely the moments their power cycled low. Myriad bioships flowed like water through the rigid Council formation, disrupting their carefully maintained spacing. "They're trying to adapt," Rodriguez reported, her consciousness tracking enemy movements. "But their command structure is too slow." Each tactical change has to go through their hierarchy. Cooper watched through multiple perspectives as the Council fleet began to break apart. Their rigid doctrine, enforced over thousands of years, became their weakness. Every pre-programmed response was countered before they could execute it. Status report. He commanded as the battle reached its peak. 3 Omega-class destroyers disabled. 2 more in retreat. Minimal Alliance casualties. Wei's thoughts carried a note of triumph. The gaming scenarios worked perfectly. But Cooper's satisfaction was short-lived. A new alert pulsed through the neural network. Multiple quantum space ruptures detected. The Council is deploying their reserve fleet. Over 1,000 ships incoming. Let them come, Cooper thought, his consciousness expanding to encompass the entire tactical picture. Every battle teaches us more about their patterns, and humanity has always been very, very good at learning from our opponents. The real test was about to begin, and this time, the Council would learn that suppressing humanity's development had only forced them to become more creative in how they fought. The Sol system burned, or at least that's what the Council's quantum sensors told them. Captain Hayes watched from the Shadow Dancer's bridge as carefully crafted sensor ghosts showed Earth's orbital defenses falling one by one. Amanda's quantum masking technology had evolved far beyond simple disguises. Now it could paint entire tactical pictures in the enemy sensors. Council flagship is taking the bait, Admiral Cooper's neural transmission reported. Their entire command structure believes we're in full retreat. Hayes allowed herself a grim smile. Hundreds of years of superiority makes for predictable thinking patterns. The trap had taken months to prepare. Every gravitational node in the Sol system had been modified with recovered technology, creating an interlocking web of spatial distortions. Lithoid crystal arrays hidden in the asteroid belt would turn normal space into a quantum maze, and the myriads bioships lurked in dimensional pockets, ready to emerge at precisely calculated moments. Council main fleet entering Jupiter's orbit, tactical reported. Numbers confirmed. 2,300 capital ships, including their new planet killer prototypes. Hayes watched through her neural interface as the massive Council armada advanced toward Earth. Their formation was perfect, their coordination flawless, and completely predictable. They still thought they were pursuing a broken enemy making a last desperate stand. They're scanning the debris field near Mars, Amanda reported from her station. Quantum signatures are exactly as we planned. They're reading the remnants of a failed counterattack. The Council fleet pressed on, their Supreme Commander's quantum-encoded transmissions radiating confidence. Why shouldn't they be confident? Their sensors showed Earth's defenses in ruins, its fleets scattered, its allies in retreat. The cradle of humanity lay virtually defenseless before them. Final phase. Cooper's transmission came. All ships, execute Operation Looking Glass. Hayes felt the Shadow Dancer's systems sync with the vast network they'd created. Across the Sol system, hidden generators activated. Space itself began to twist. The first sign that something was wrong came when the Council's rear guard tried to maintain formation. Their drives struggled against unexpected gravitational eddies. Sensor officers reported impossible readings as lithoid crystal arrays bent light and gravity in ways that violated Council physics. They're realizing it's a trap, Amanda announced, monitoring the enemy's quantum communications, but they haven't figured out what kind yet. The Council fleet's perfect formation began to waver. Ships at the edges of their formation reported conflicting navigational data. Every attempt to regroup drove them deeper into the gravitational web. Their Supreme Commander is ordering a breakthrough attempt, Tactical reported. They're powering up their planet killers. Perfect timing, Hayes smiled. Signal the myriad. Begin Phase Omega. The real battle was about to begin. But first, Hayes opened a channel to the Council fleet. They deserved to know exactly what humanity had prepared for them. To the Council fleet, she transmitted on all frequencies. You spent centuries ensuring humanity never reached our full potential. You forced us to think differently, to solve problems in ways you never imagined. Now let us show you what suppression truly created. She nodded to Amanda, who activated the final sequence. Around the Council fleet, space itself seemed to fold. The gravitational web tightened, quantum distortions multiplied, and carefully planned escape routes turned into deadly traps. All ships, battle stations, Hayes commanded. The Council wanted to make an example of humanity. Let's show them exactly what humans do when backed into a corner. The Alliance fleet decloaked around the trapped Council armada. But these weren't the broken remnants the Council expected. These were ships crewed by humans, lithoids, and myriad working in perfect harmony, using technologies that should never have worked together. As the Council fleet realized the full scope of their predicament, Hayes received one final transmission from Cooper. The Supreme Commander is hailing us. They're demanding we stand down and accept our rightful place. Hayes' response was simple. Tell them humanity's rightful place is about to change. And they're going to help us prove it. The battle that followed would reshape the galaxy forever. But first, the Council would learn the true cost of centuries of suppression. The Symphony of Salvation began with a single note, the quantum scream of a Council dreadnought trying to tear free from the gravitational web. What followed was unlike any battle in galactic history. Multiple Council ships attempting quantum space transitions, Tactical reported. Their drive signatures are destabilizing in the distortion field. Hayes watched through her neural interface as the trap they'd spent months preparing turned space itself into a weapon. Council ships, trying to escape, found their quantum drives working against them. Each attempted jump drove them deeper into the web of gravitational distortions. Supreme Commander Tsirkin is ordering their fleet to form a breakthrough wedge, Amanda announced, monitoring enemy communications. They're going to try to punch through at coordinates 227 Mark 43. Cooper's neural transmission came instantly, exactly where we predicted. Execute Symphony Phase 1. The Alliance fleet moved like a single organism, guided by the combined consciousness of human, lithoid, and myriad commanders. Ships flowed into formations that looked chaotic, but followed patterns taken from everything from fluid dynamics to ancient Earth dance choreography. The Council's breakthrough attempt met in defense that defied their tactical computers. Alliance ships pirouetted through space in maneuvers based on ballet sequences, their paths impossible to predict yet perfectly coordinated. Lithoid crystal beams sliced through quantum shields while myriad bioships swarmed like schools of fish, overwhelming targeting systems. Multiple Council ships going critical, Tactical warned. They're overloading their drive cores. They're trying to take us with them, Hayes realized. All ships, execute emergency pattern Delta. The Alliance fleet scattered in perfect synchronization as the first Council ship detonated. The explosion warped space-time itself, but thanks to the lithoid's calculations, every Alliance vessel rode the shockwave exactly as planned. Tsirkin's voice boomed across all frequencies. You dare use our own space against us. We are the Council. We have guided the galaxy for 10,000 years. And that's exactly why you'll lose, Hayes responded, watching as another wave of Council ships burned their drives out trying to escape. You haven't had to adapt in millennia. We never stopped. The battle shifted into its next phase. Council ships, realizing they couldn't escape, began fighting with the desperation of cornered predators. Their weapons were superior, their technology more advanced, but the Alliance had something better. Neural sync complete, Amanda reported. All ships connected to the combat network. Hayes felt her consciousness expand as she joined the merged battlefield awareness. Human intuition, lithoid precision, and myriad coordination combined into something entirely new. Every Alliance ship became part of a greater whole, moving with both perfect unity and individual initiative. They're targeting Earth, Tactical suddenly announced. Planet killer weapons charging. Show them what humanity learned from all those combat games, Cooper commanded. The Alliance fleet split into smaller groups, each executing maneuvers that looked like pure chaos, but followed patterns that gamers had proven unbeatable. Council targeting computers, faced with movements that defied their programming, began to fail. Planet killer shots going wide. Amanda reported, excitement in her voice. Their targeting systems can't handle the randomized patterns. But Sirkin wasn't finished. The Council's Supreme Commander ordered his remaining ships into a suicide formation, preparing to detonate their entire fleet rather than accept defeat. All ships, clear Channel 7, Hayes ordered. Then, to Sirkin, look at your tactical display. Really look. Count how many of your ships are actually still under your command. There was a long pause as the Council leader realized the truth. During the battle, Amanda's quantum masking technology had been slowly taking control of Council ships' signatures. Half of what Sirkin saw as his fleet now belonged to the Alliance. Impossible, the Supreme Commander whispered. This cannot be. Humanity, Hayes responded, specializes in the impossible. Stand down, Commander. The age of suppression is over. The battle's outcome would be remembered for centuries, but it wasn't the destruction that made it legendary. It was the moment when the Council's perfect formation finally broke, and the galaxy learned that creativity would always triumph over control. 1 month after the Battle of Sol, Captain Hayes stood in the grand chamber of the former Council headquarters on Centauri Prime. The massive crystalline dome, once reserved for Council species only, now hosted representatives from 100 worlds. The chamber hummed with voices speaking dozens of languages, all united by a single purpose: building something new from the ashes of the old order. The archives are still yielding secrets, Amanda reported, her neural interface projecting data into Hayes' vision. 10,000 years of suppressed innovations, hidden research, controlled evolution programs. The Council didn't just hold us back, they shaped entire species to fit their vision of order. Hayes watched as a young Xarthi representative engaged in animated discussion with a lithoid crystal smith. The sight would have been unthinkable just months ago. And now we shape our own destiny. Admiral Cooper's avatar materialized beside them, his neural projection crisp despite transmitting from Earth. The transition teams report another 1,000 suppressed technologies recovered from Council vaults. Everything from clean energy systems to consciousness transfer matrices. The Council wasn't just hoarding power, they were hoarding the future itself. The Alliance had become the Galactic Coalition, transforming from a resistance movement into the foundation of a new interstellar governance. But this time, the principles were different. No technology would be suppressed. No species would be engineered into compliance. Innovation would be celebrated, not feared. What about the hardliners? Hayes asked, watching a group of former Council military officers enter the chamber. Their once proud uniforms now bore coalition insignias. Most have accepted the new reality, Cooper replied. Especially the younger generations. Turns out many of them had their own doubts about the old system. They just needed to see an alternative was possible. Amanda's expression brightened as she received new data. The myriad colonies report successful reintegration of their collective consciousness. Without Council suppression, they're discovering new forms of neural networking we never imagined possible. And the lithoids, their crystal computing technology, is revolutionizing quantum communications across Coalition space. Hayes smiled, remembering the desperate battles that had led to this moment. And humanity. What are we contributing to this new age? What we do best, Cooper answered. We're teaching others how to think differently. Our gaming strategies are being adapted into educational programs. Our history of overcoming limitations is inspiring other species to challenge their own boundaries. A commotion at the chamber's entrance drew their attention. A delegation of young Xarthi scientists arrive, their bioluminescent patterns pulsing with excitement. They carried crystalline data cores containing their latest research, a fusion of traditional Xarthi biology with human adaptive algorithms and lithoid computing. That's the real victory, Amanda said softly. Not defeating the Council, but showing the galaxy a better way. Every species bringing their strengths, their perspectives, their innovations, Hayes added. Their humanity, Cooper finished, earning surprised looks from his colleagues. Not human as in our species, but humanity as in what makes us strive, create, and grow. Turns out that quality isn't unique to Earth. It was just waiting for a chance to flourish everywhere. The chamber's central hologram activated, displaying a map of known space. Quantum lanes pulsed with increasing traffic as trade and cultural exchanges flourished. Former council worlds glowed with new energy signatures as suppressed technologies were reintroduced. And at the edges of the map, explorer ships ventured into the unknown, carrying crews of mixed species united by curiosity and hope. First contact protocols are being rewritten, Amanda noted. Future civilizations we encounter won't face suppression or control. They'll be welcomed as equals, free to contribute their own innovations to the galaxy. Hayes touched the coalition insignia on her uniform. A spiral galaxy formed from interlocking symbols of all member species. The council feared change. They thought control meant stability. But the galaxy doesn't need a controller. It needs a catalyst, Cooper said. And that's what humanity has become. Not rulers, but innovators. Not conquerors, but collaborators. As the coalition chamber filled with the sounds of 1,000 species building a future together, Hayes realized that humanity's greatest victory wasn't seizing control of the galaxy. It was showing the galaxy how to let go of control altogether, replacing fear with hope, suppression with support, and isolation with unity. The real revolution had only just begun.